Great. So it looks like you can hear us. So let's get started because we only have 30 minutes of your time today and we want to make sure we make the most of it. So I'd like to welcome everyone to WSI's webinar entitled Inbound Marketing, a Step-by-Step Case Study. Like I said, my name is Cheryl Baldwin. I'm the Director of Marketing of Communications at WSI's corporate head office, and I'll be your host today. Now, just a couple of housekeeping items before we get started. Everyone has been muted. So if you have any questions, please type them into the question box. We will have a couple of minutes at the end of the webinar just to go through a couple of live questions. But feel free to type them in, and I'll be answering on chat as well. In case you missed something during the webinar or want to revisit, don't worry. We are recording the webinar, and a version of the recording will be emailed out to you by the consultant that referred you to the webinar. Now, just a little bit about WSI in case you aren't familiar with who we are. WSI boasts the largest network of digital marketing consultants around the world. We have offices in more than 80 countries internationally, and we are capable of being a company's one-stop shop for their entire digital marketing strategy. I'd like to now just introduce you to our speaker for today. So joining me to present is Chuck Bankoff. Now, Chuck owns and operates a WSI certified agency called Creative WebWorks out of California. He has been part of the WSI Digital Marketing Network and a thought leader in the industry since 1999. And he's also a published author, having penned the landing page optimization chapter in WSI's book entitled Digital Minds. Over the next 20-25 minutes, Chuck is going to take you through an inbound marketing case study to demonstrate how inbound marketing can make your overall marketing strategy stronger. I know he has some great information to share with you all, so without further ado, I'm going to pass it over to Chuck.
Oh, thanks, Cheryl. Okay, so as Cheryl said, we only have a half hour here, and this particular presentation really lends itself to moving along pretty quickly. It's very sequential in nature. And so here's the agenda, and I hate reading agendas to people, but so I'll kind of group it a little bit, right? So we're going to start off with real quick exploring what a sales funnel is and why it's pertinent to this particular case, and creating a buyer persona, right? So if we're going to be doing inbound marketing, we have to know who we're marketing to and where they are at their stage of the buyer's journey. Then really the rest of it is really going to be going through a live actual campaign. You know, we're going to show you in a sequence of landing pages and kind of what goes on behind the scenes and point out a little details that you might miss. We're going to show how to we promote it, you know, through social media and search and that sort of thing. And then we're going to go over the results, which I quite frankly I found really interesting because what I'm going to show you is a relatively new campaign. It's only been running for less than 2 weeks, and the results are kind of interesting. We'll do a little Q&A, and then we'll wrap up. And I think Cheryl has some promotional swag for you that you can walk away with today. And so let's get started here. The sales funnel. All right, you've probably heard the term before, and there are different variations of it. But essentially, if you think of it, stuff comes out on the bottom, right? So in a sales funnel, at the highest level, right, strangers go in, people who don't know you, you don't know them, but they are potential customers or clients for you, right? They get there through various means, whether it's you know, social media or through search or whatever. The part about it I want to emphasize is that it's what they call the top of the funnel. It's the awareness stage, right? That they have a kind of an awareness that, I don't know, something's missing in their business. They have a need. There's a certain degree of pain or just a certain degree of interest, but they don't know what it is, right? They don't necessarily know they need your product or your services. They just know they have an issue and something attracted them. Right? And then, you know, the other stages are, I guess it's kind of obvious, you know, as you convert them through, you know, various calls to action. In our case, it's going to be downloading an ebook. That's the example I chose for you today. You know, closing it, and then what they call delighting, right? In other words, you have customers. That's not good enough, right? You want to turn those customers into promoters or brand advocates, okay? To why? To get more strangers into your funnel for next time, okay? Okay, so just keep that in mind. We're working at the top of the funnel, right? We're trying to attract people we don't know, the strangers, okay? All right, so, all right, the next step in our little setup here is what they call a buyer persona, right? We're going to be putting together an offer for these strangers, to get them into our sales funnel. But how do we know what offer will they'd be interested in, right? Well, we create something called a buyer persona, right? We need to know who we're creating the offer for. Creating a buyer persona it's a step, quite frankly, most marketers they're too lazy to do. But I can assure you it'll pay dividends. Once you do it, it's done, and everyone knows who your customer is, your team, your marketing people, your web developers, whoever you're working with, you all know who you're catering to. So on the left side is a partial screenshot of a buyer persona worksheet that we use, and I'm pretty sure that's what Cheryl's going to give you I think she is, access to that towards the end of the presentation. Now it's just, of course, a little screenshot. The whole thing comes with, basically instructions, some background, and more questions to basically fill out. On the right side is an actual finished product for one of our actual clients, one of my actual clients. So this is what the finished product, what you have to work with, right? The demographics. In this case, this particular client of ours, they do what's called a POS, point of sales system. It's a software system, right? And their target market are like shop owners, like in retailers in like a strip mall environment, or small retailers, not Walmart. Smaller boutique type of things, like a women's clothing boutique or a surf shop, or something like that, right? So one of our personas, the people that we would be creating the offer for, we call her Susie Shopkeeper. Okay, we're actually naming her. So if we're talking about our customer, we're talking about Susie, right? Susie's female in the mid-30s to 40s. Her income is between $35,000 to $5,000 a month, some college, right? So you can read. I hate reading all this stuff for you, right? But if you go way down to Susie's story towards the bottom paragraph, I'm just going to skip over most of all this, right? I'm going to read it to you. She's not super computer savvy, but she's confident. She has a smartphone and uses social media like Facebook, Pinterest. She has kids that show her the power, but she doesn't really know how to use it effectively. She wants to sell more and feels the pinch every time one of the big box stores opens near her, and her business is threatened by online retailers like Amazon. Okay, so if you took the time to put something like this together for your buyers, your customers, and keep in mind you can do multiple ones. They're not all Susies. There's Jack, and there's people, different demographics, age groups, genders, that sort of thing, right? If you read this, don't you really feel that you know who you're catering to, who your customer is? Do you think that the folks who write your copy, if you employ copywriters or you have someone in-house doing it, that they can rally around this persona to put together something that is appropriate for Susie? Okay, so now we got this out of the way. One of the challenges I had is, it occurred to me I can't really show you the inside story on any of my clients because there are privacy issues. So, and that's the best way to do this, is to actually show you step by step, show you a little bit behind the scenes, that sort of thing. So I opted to show you one of our campaigns, one of my campaigns, okay? So we're not catering to Susie Shopkeeper. We might be actually, but we're a digital marketing firm. We do website development, search engine optimization, social media marketing, reputation management, paid advertising, all these things, and we wrap them into like a retainer-based package. Okay, so our target market are business owners, they're marketing managers, and so forth, right? So we put together this offer called the 25 website must-haves for driving traffic, leads, and sales. Right? The concept of inbound marketing is predicated on offering the consumer something of value to attract them into your sales funnel. Right? So, spoiler alert: the e-book doesn't really look like an actual physical book, like what the graphic I put together here for you, right? It's a PDF, of course, but creating a book graphic gives the consumer something they can relate to. Okay, so here's what this is actually the cover, the real book. Like if you were to download this, and you're welcome to do so, right? That's what it looks like, right? There's the cover, and then there's just the first page of the intro. Now, I don't have time to go over the entire book. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to skip towards towards the very end, right? I'd love to show you the book. It's really, really well put together, and I think pretty valuable content. But at the end of the book, after we've proven that we're delivering good knowledge, we're making good recommendations, right? We're becoming a trusted resource of sorts, right? We're offering additional value. Okay, so in the two blue bars there, tools.pingdom.com, those are to check the speed of your website. Those are not our resources, but they're good resources that may be of value to our customers, right? Our clients, right? In the orange, those are the buyer persona sample, right? That's Susie Shopkeeper, and the download the persona worksheet. Okay, so there's a little section for that. That's value added. In the purple, the download the 25 must-have checklist. That's an actual checklist we put together so that if people who downloaded the ebook, they want to talk to their web development team, right? They don't have to have this big book open or printed, right? So it's a separate value add that's in checklist form. All right, and then finally, we're offering the download a different ebook called the Digital Marketing Smell Test. Okay, on the right-hand side, that's our featured promotion. Okay, so we're offering to install Google Analytics, set up custom filters, and go over it about 30 days later, go over all the data, right, for $149, which is, it's kind of a loss leader for us, but it's a value add for our potential clients. And it engages us, right? So this is what kind of works for us, right? You as a business owner have a different value proposition, okay? So here's an example of the 25 website must-haves checklist. There are several pages here, but I just wanted to show you what it would look like if they downloaded that, and you can see it's branded. Here's a different ebook called the Digital Marketing Smell Test, How to Hire an Agency That Doesn't Stink. Right, so they have access to this as well. Right, what am I doing? We're reinforcing, that we add value to them. Right, that we're not holding back, that we're a source of information. They can come back to us for more information. So we're, in essence, nurturing this prospect right from the top of the funnel. Okay, so I told you that this is going to be very sequential. Right, here's the sequence. Don't turn your head sideways trying to read it. We're actually going to go over this, right? So, all right, here's where it starts. This is a landing page that we put together, right? It's the hook. Now, this is actually, and pay attention to this is actually a bit of an experiment. We had not done this before. Notice that on here, there's no form, right? Right? Usually that's the traditional way of doing it, is you show the value of your offer and you give someone a form to fill out. We're experimenting with something else, and the results are very interesting, and I'll show that to you at the end. So look at the various components here, right? So we have a big headline, 25 website must-haves, like a header, right? As a general rule, people don't read on the Internet. They scan. They see headlines, they see bullet points, and they see images, right? If they like what they see, they'll read a little more. So what do you have here? You have a big, giant headline, right in your face. It's mirrored by the graphic, the 25, that's like the shape of the book. And then look at the headlines, right? We have sometimes just doing the basics makes all the difference, right? And then, of course, you could read those paragraphs if you were inclined. Then we have the list of bullet points, and then basically a reassurance, how to use this book, that, it's not like a homework assignment that you can skip around. You can read the sections you want. And then we have a nice, big, in-your-face call to action. Get your free promo copy. The word free is there. There's a big red with an arrow in the middle of it, okay? So let's assume you click on that. What happens? Okay, now you go to the conversion landing page. Now, why did we have, again, this is an experiment, why did we have that primary page, right? This is a two-step process. Well, there's been some research that when you make an offer and you see a form, people immediately go, oh, you want something from me. I got to give you my contact information for me. And it's negative, right? So they don't really pay attention. They see the form, and maybe they tune out because they've already decided, I don't care what you're offering. Okay? And so we're doing an experiment with this two-step form. So now they've already said yes by clicking that button. They read through it. They're saying, you know what, I really like this, right? So they're halfway sold, okay? So now, theoretically, the form, filling out the form, goes down a little easier, right? What happens when they fill out the form? Well, of course, they go into our database so that we can nurture them along in the future. And, you know, we don't overdo that. That's the fastest way to lose trust, is to just constantly bombard someone with emails. Only when you have something of value. Okay, so what do we have on this page, right? We have little screenshots, the visuals of these are what some of the pages, the internal pages, look like on the book. Again, we have the continuity where the graphic is similar, 25 website must-haves. Underneath there, we have a privacy statement, but it's as simple as it can be. We will never sell or release your information to any third party ever. Call to action is download now for free. Okay, really simple. Also, look at the top. You see our logo there, but you don't see any navigation, right? Why is that, right? It's also on the previous page here, no navigation, right? Well, we have a goal here. We have a mission. We want to get people to fill out the form, get our premium content, our ebook in their hands, and maybe build up a relationship. At this point, I don't need them going all around my website and losing track of that process, okay? So we're taking the options away from them. Okay, so of course, everything, and I mean everything, has to be mobile enabled. That's an actual screenshot from my smartphone. That's what it looks like, right, if you were to go there. It's very easy to read. The form is very easy to fill out. And by the way, you notice, going back to the form, not asking for a lot of things to be filled out. First name, last name, email, and I like to see the web address, right? If someone is downloading my ebook, if I go to their website, I can tell a lot about them, you know, what industry they're in, do they even look like, you know, they're serious, you know. It gives me some good background information. So that's one of the required fields for me, okay? Okay, so again, we've established, right, mobile enabled. All right, after they fill out the form, what happens, right? They go to a thank you page. That's what we call this. It's a download page, but you know, in the industry we call it a thank you page. Now, a common oversight by even professional marketers is not take full advantage of the thank you page. You know, typically you'll see something innocuous like, "Hey, thanks for downloading our ebook. Hope you enjoy it," or "Someone will be in contact with," or, any number of things like that, right? But that's a missed opportunity, right? So here, if you look on the left, you have that badge that says download here. So now they can download. I mean, they fulfilled their requirements. They filled out the form, right? And they can download the book right there. But look also on the right-hand side, additional resources. So I'm offering them even more value. They haven't even read the ebook. They haven't even downloaded the ebook yet, right? But I'm letting them know there's more stuff. I want a lot of our branded, helpful, useful material in their hands. Okay? Now, that doesn't just stop there. Simultaneously, this is a very sequential process, but in this case, two things happen at the same time, right? As soon as they hit submit on the form, they go to this landing page, this thank you page to download. But in their inbox, they also get a personalized looking email. It says, "Hi Chuck, your free ebook is, must-haves is ready for download. There's the badge." So if they, once they leave the landing page, the download page, they're pretty much they're gone, right? That you can't find that landing page again once you close it without going through the process, right? So I want to make sure that they have access to this in their inbox, okay? Something they can refer to, something that's sitting out there on their inbox to remind them about us, and until eventually they file it or delete it, okay? All right, so now we've done all of that. Right? So we know who we're marketing to. We know what stage of the buyer's journey they're at. A kick-ass offer, right? So how do people know about the offer? right? How do we promote it? How do they find it in the first place? Okay? Well, we'll go over a couple of things here. Some of them are pretty basic, okay? Right? Facebook, of course. This is free. Now, we can also do paid advertising on Facebook. Quite frankly, it's very reasonable to do that. This is a new campaign. We haven't done that yet. We're already starting to get a little traction just by doing the basics here. So when we post to Facebook, we don't just post once, right? Over the next couple of months, we'll post, every week or so for the same offer. You want to put a little space between it, but we pepper in some of our other campaigns in between, and we'll cycle them through a few times. Keep in mind, just because you put it on Facebook doesn't mean someone saw it. You put it on a second time, someone else might see it. Okay? Well, it's the same thing with Twitter. Okay, now Twitter, the lifespan of a tweet is about 18 minutes, 19 minutes, which basically means, and I kid you not, I can tweet the same thing out, a dozen times a day if I wanted to, and catch completely different people. In this case, we'll tweet every few days for this particular offer and pepper in different offers we happen to have going at the same time. And we'll use hashtags. In this case, it's hashtag business management. Okay, because there's a lot of people follow that hashtag, business people, presumably. Okay, Google Plus, you see on the left-hand side, we post there. And incidentally, when we post to things like Facebook, Google Plus, we post both on our personal accounts and our company accounts. LinkedIn, we get a lot of traction for LinkedIn. One of the reasons is LinkedIn is a business-to-business, a B2B environment. Facebook is a business-to-consumer or just people looking for pictures of cats, right? But, mixed in with just everyday people. And those everyday people, some of them are business folks, right? So LinkedIn happens to be a primary outlet for us. Incidentally, if you wanted to, if you wanted more information or had some questions that we don't get to, you can look me up in LinkedIn, connect with me, and I'll just answer your questions there. I'm pretty easy to find. Or just Google me. All right, here's our website. Just put this up day before. What this is, excerpt from just one of the portions of the ebook. So not only did we write an ebook about all sorts of different related subjects, each one of those subjects lends itself to becoming a blog post. Each blog post lends itself to promoting the ebook. Okay, so now I promote by promoting the blog post. I'm actually, what do you call it? Not inadvertently. I'm kind of peripherally promoting the ebook as well. Okay, so the formula. This is by way of review. You create targeted premium content. You create a landing page that, and this is important, it actually explains the value, not just throw. Right? You want to collect your contact information, create a thank you page with more value, not just thank you. Automate your thank you emails. Automate your follow-up emails. Now they're in your database, remember, but don't do only email something of value, something that builds a relationship, not overt advertising. Okay, and then you want to promote your offer through search and social. Okay, so I bet you're wondering what the results are. Well, even if you're not, I'm going to tell you. Okay, so this screenshot I took just last night. Now, this, it looks like that two-step process, landing pages, that intermediate landing page is actually paying off. It's only been 15 days since the landing page was created, and a little less since we started promoting it, but it already looks very promising. So look at this. With form submission, this is huge. I know most of you are not familiar with what the numbers should be, but the step 2, that's the page with the form on it. The submission rate is 54.8%, almost 55%. Over half the people who go there actually fill out the form. That's phenomenal. You don't that you get maybe 20%, something like that. out of the 54%, 35.5% of them are new contacts, right? That means, the other percentage of people who downloaded the book were people who are already in our database, and they're certainly welcome to download any of our material. So, column there where it says submission rate, 54.8%. There's nothing even close to that. The other offers all had the forms on them. Okay, this one has the two-step process, right? Now, it's very early. We just got started less than 2 weeks ago, but I think I'm not going to say the jury's out, but I'm going to say that it looks like it's pretty successful here, right? So I know we're running out of time, so let's go to some Q&A. By the way, that's where you can find me on LinkedIn if you want to connect and you have questions, whatever. So, Cheryl, do we have any questions?
Yep. We have a couple questions coming in, and I guess one of the questions is around, how does someone really know what type of offer to maybe start with to try out with their customers from an inbound marketing perspective?
Great question, actually. I mean, I know I'm supposed to say great question, but that really is a good question, all right? That's why we start with the buyer persona, okay? So the first step is figuring out, well, who are we trying to reach? Who are our customers? Who are our clients, okay? What do they need? What is their pain? What are they trying to accomplish, right? And you reverse engineer it from there, okay? In the case of our POS, point of sale client, right? We know that Susie Shopkeeper, she's frustrated. She's feeling the pinch with Walmarts and Amazon and, managing human resources and inventory and all these things, and that's what that product does, right? So if I was in a position to show you the ebook we put together for them, it really doesn't overtly promote this particular POS system, but it addresses what we call the 5 pillars of retail success, okay? But what happened is we reverse engineered it. We came up with the concept because we knew who the customer was. It was Sally Shopkeeper. So I hope that helps answer it.
Great. And I do have a question here, just because you were talking about an ebook offer. What's the best way if someone decides they want to do an ebook to actually get an ebook written?
All right, well, it sounds easy. Go write an ebook. But, all right, so the procedure, and I could probably do an entire webinar just on that, is one, after we know we're writing it for Sally Shopkeeper, or for me, it's business owner Bob, or whatever, is you start with an outline. It's that simple, okay? You go, okay, what would really help this person? What do they need to know? So you, just like writing a paper in school, you start with the outline, okay? Then we have copywriters. We hand that off to our copywriters. They each, we kind of, when we write the outline, we have like a topic, like a chapter heading, if you will, and a little description of what we want to cover, right? And we have the copywriters write each section of that. Then we go through an editing process, as you might imagine. The client weighs in, corrects any inaccuracies or points that they want to make, that sort of thing. Then, once we have all of the text, then, you have to put together the ebook, like graphically put it together. We have an image service. We use Shutterstock, and I have a whole theory on using images, right? Because, the secret of doing it well is not the obvious, right? Not to, search Shutterstock or iStock using the same word that you're trying, because you're just going to get something that's cliche. Okay, so you have to be clever. Then where it becomes an issue is you got to spread the text out. You want orphans. You don't want 1 or 2 lines on a page. So you may have to re-edit it or resize something just to make sure it's formatted and looks good. And then you want to determine what are your offers at the end of the book. How are you going to promote yourself throughout the book? So I could do a half hour on that alone with graphics, but I don't think we have that sort of time.
Thanks, Chuck. I mean, I know there are some questions still coming through, but for the sake of time, we're going to have to wrap up the webinar. So maybe if you can just move me through the next couple of slides. So as I mentioned in Chuck's bio, WSI has written a book on digital marketing called Digital Minds, 12 Things Every Business Needs to Know About Digital Marketing. We've actually just put together a updated second edition of the book. And I think if you actually go onto Amazon.com, you might be able to find and get access to it. So I encourage you to go online, either download an ebook version or buy a copy. It's a great read, especially if you're looking for more information on the various digital marketing tactics to leverage in your business. As a special offer, Chuck did mention, and a thank you for everyone attending, we do have a special offer for the free buyer persona template. And Chuck did mention this when he was talking about buyer personas. And so it's, as you know, a critical component of any marketing strategy. And this template will really help you get started. Just give you an idea of what buyer personas are and just the template and worksheet on how to put various ones together. So keep an eye out for a follow-up email from the consultant that referred you to the webinar for more details, or reach out to them to get your copy. And before we leave, I would like to say a big thank you to everyone for taking time out of their busy schedules for joining us today, and a special thanks for Chuck for taking us through his inbound marketing case study. Thanks, Chuck, for that.
Oh, you're welcome. It was my pleasure. If anyone has any follow-up questions, I'm not that hard to find. Google me by name, find me on LinkedIn. I'll be happy to answer your questions.
Great. And like I said, I know there were some unanswered questions we weren't able to get to. Please also feel free to contact the consultant that referred you to this webinar with any outstanding questions you may have. I have shared some additional resources in the chat box around this topic of inbound marketing, as well as just enhancing your customer engagement overall. So feel free to download our infographic and cheat sheets. Also, you can visit us on WSIworld.com under a resource center that has all of that great resources available to you. So once again, thank you all for attending. I look forward to seeing you all back. This is the 4th session in our series this year. If you need access to any of the previous ones, just reach out to your WSI consultant and drop them a line. They can get you recordings. Our next webinar will take place on Tuesday, October 27th, and we will be talking about how you can refine your marketing strategies through data and measurability. So until next time, again, I'm Cheryl Baldwin for WSI, and I'm wishing you all a wonderful day. Thank you all.
Thanks, everybody.